So there's a report out that the 49ers are still unsure whether or not they have a good starting quarterback or not. Now, this team has seemingly been trying to find a quarterback since like 2019, or maybe even sooner than that, 2018 potentially. I think since Kyle Shanahan got there, if I'm reading it correctly, there's been one season where they've only had one quarterback the entire season, and that's Jimmy G in 2019 when they made the Super Bowl. Every year before then and after then, since Kyle Shanahan got there, they've had two or more, which that blows my mind away. So, I mean, we saw Brock Purdy last year. He went undefeated when he was healthy. So I want to know, do you think the 49ers are actually overvalued as this dominant team in the NFL?
No.
Why do you think
they
that?
are the best team in the NFL.
The best team?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do. And I think that Brock Purdy, coming off an elbow injury, it's probably taking him a little while to feel comfortable that he can really zip the ball, and he's probably a little tentative with that, and that's understandable. So it's taking him a little time to get back in the groove. Kyle Shanahan said, no question, he's going to be our starter. The 10 interceptions, it's 5% of the passes that he's thrown so far, so not a huge percentage. In the regular season, he threw 223 passes, had 4 interceptions, a 1.7% interception rate. An average quarterbacks in the NFL throw 2%. Their average percentages of interceptions is 2%, so he beat that out. So I think that he's definitely a very accurate passer, and I think once he gets out there on the field in a game, he'll be fine.
I saw a bit of footage recently with Brock Purdy in last season. The amount of dropped not the amount of dropped interceptions, but the amount of, almost interceptions was glaring to me. Brock Purdy may be one of the luckiest quarterbacks right now in the league. There were a number of times where the ball could have been picked off, and it was either completely dropped, the guy wasn't looking at the time, or the receiver batted the ball away. So I think right now, here's the thing. When we saw Brock Purdy originally, right, there's that infamous clip, I believe it's one of like the most popular videos on our channel, where Steve Young compared, Mahomes and Brock Purdy and some of their, tangibles and intangibles. And I said, we just got to chill it out a little bit. The guy's played, I think at that point, he played 3 or 4 games. We all got to take a moment, take a breath, and realize that this guy's an undrafted free, he's the Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft. We got to just chill out and see how we could play. Now, when he was healthy, he won every single game he played in, and the only time where he was unhealthy was that Eagles game where he got hurt. Now, could Brock Purdy have potentially lost that game or potentially even won that game if he was healthy? Maybe, because we saw what the Eagles defense was in the Super Bowl. Wasn't all that great. So, what I saw from Brock Purdy was he better than Jimmy G? No, he wasn't. Was he close to being better than Jimmy G? Yes, he was. Jimmy G was the better long-distance thrower. I believe he had a better touchdown to interception ratio. And we saw throughout the playoffs, because if we're holding Brock Purdy to these standards of being a great quarterback in the league, we have to realize that in the playoffs, he looked very, very nervous against the Seattle defense. He should have lost to the Cowboys, and he did lose to the Eagles. However, I'll say about what? What were you saying? What?
Nate.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy was a rookie last year.
Hey,
all right?
He's being compared to...
He was a third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
All the others got hurt. He came off the bench. He probably didn't have any kind of reps early in training camp or through the year. He was standing on the sidelines watching. He came into the game basically with very little... No experience, 0 experience, and very few reps. He won 5 games in a row.
Correct.
All right. He went into the playoffs. He won 3 games, 2 or 3, 2 games to get to the NFC Championship game.
2 games.
He won those 2 games. He got to the Eagles game and he got hurt.
He did.
If he'd been there the whole game and he didn't get hurt, chances are they might have won that game. So I think you're too hard on Brock Purdy. This is his second year. We'll see how he does. He has more experience. He has real-time game experience. He won 2 playoff games as a rookie. Mm-hmm. So I think that you underestimate him.
If you're comparing him to Kurt Warner and Tom Brady, the amount of expectation I have for you goes through the roof. Because if there's something
who's
there,
comparing him to Tom Brady,
Mr. Late round draft pick, the next coming of Tom Brady. Kurt Warner was undrafted.
I didn't say he was the next coming of Tom Brady.
I know you didn't. People were when Brock Purdy came into the scene.
I give him a lot of credit for how well he did to step in there when he wasn't even expecting to be playing at all the whole season.
Can I ask you, how hard could that be with a team like the 49ers? People hate on Jimmy G. Hate on him. He made it to an NFC championship and a Super Bowl and was winning against Mahomes in the Super Bowl in entering the fourth quarter and entering that Rams game where he lost because of a dropped interception because of the 49ers defense. He could have made it to another Super Bowl. How hard could it be? The only person to have a problem with Kyle Shanahan's system is Trey Lance.
Okay, well, I think that
Matt Schaub was a Pro Bowler.
I think
Matt Ryan was a great piece.
I think Jimmy G is a decent quarterback too. I think he's a very good quarterback. So
Everyone calls him a bum.
Well, I don't.
I know you
call
don't.
him a bum.
I think under Kyle Shanahan's system and healthy, he's the number 14 or 13th best quarterback in the league. Under Kyle Shanahan's system, he is a slightly above average quarterback. I'd put him over Ryan Tannehill under that system. I'd put him close to Derek Carr under that system. I think Derek Carr is actually a little bit better. But we're talking about a guy who, right now, at least in training camp, is having problems. And it's so much of a problem that the 49ers reportedly are unsure that they even have a good quarterback. Now, here's the thing.
That's hype. That's hype. I don't believe it. I'm sure Shanahan,
I think that's the alternate of hype.
Based on what he saw with Brock Purdy, who operated Kyle Shanahan's offense extremely well with very little reps going in. He never even thought he was going to play the whole year. So the guy is. I think he's quite smart. And I think that he has the talent, and I think that he will do very well in his second season.
I think any quarterback with Kyle Shanahan as your head coach and that stacked roster, right? Tell me how many quarterbacks should fail under the system. So you have we're talking about quarterbacks now. Who do you think, honestly, out of the 32 quarterbacks in the league right now, who would fail? Any quarterback, could be Davis Mills, could be Justin Fields, could be Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, whatever. Who would fail with players like this? Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Trent Williams as your left tackle. Who would fail? I can't tell you.
Any quarterback would want to play in that offense.
I'm not talking about want to.
They have a fantastic scheme, and they have a lot of very highly skilled players, and they have a very good offensive line.
But how many quarterbacks would fail in the system? Because right now, only Trey Lance is the only one. Because guess what? They're now relegated to probably QB3. Sam Darnold beat him out, and he was there for 10 minutes.
Okay, well, I think
Sam Darnold's largely a bust.
If I were to pick one that I think could potentially fail in the offense, it would be Sam Darnold.
Well, guess what? He's QB2.
Yeah, well, I don't. Honestly, you know what?
I don't. Do I have the clip now? We could be wrong in this. Do I have the clip? This was Sam Darnold. That was the best throw of the day. The best throw of the day.
One throw.
And it was one of his 8 throws. He completed 5 of them. This is one of his completions. This is the best throw of the day. I don't know if I have the interception that Trey Lance threw or should have been. Yeah, these are those should have been interceptions from Trey Lance. This one was the luckiest touchdown maybe this season we'll see, and it was week 1 of the preseason. That landed into a tight end's arms, and that's the 30th ranked secondary last season.
Everyone needs a little luck.
But it's Trey Lance. And look, this one was terrible. The linebacker stared down this one right after the replay. The linebacker stared down Trey Lance, and Trey Lance still let the ball go. Look at this. Look at that middle linebacker. He's just waiting. He throws it right to the guy. He's staring at Trey Lance.
Well, you know what? Maybe Trey Lance is a bum. I don't know. But certainly Brock Purdy is a lot better than Sam Darnold.
I completely agree.
Okay.
And that's why we had the conversation Monday. I said Brock Purdy's the starter.
Brock Purdy is going to be the starter, and I think he'll do just fine.
Hey, all I'm saying is...
He's going to pick up where he left off last year, uninjured and healed up. And I think he'll have, with all the players he has around him and the protection he's going to get, I think he's going to do very well.
I find it very, very fascinating with what is generally considered the 3rd best offensive line per season, the top 3 offensive line each season. Somehow, the quarterbacks can't stay healthy. Not a single quarterback can stay healthy, and most of the time, they get hurt in the pocket. That's what I find really fascinating about this. They have a top 3 offensive line year in and year out, and arguably Actually, no, not
It's
arguably.
weird. It's
the
weird.
best tackle in football.
That's why
And Jimmy G, with his injury history, was the only quarterback to not get hurt in a single season under Kyle Shanahan's offense. That's what I find fascinating. He was the only quarterback to be the only quarterback in a season. Brock Purdy this year, we saw four quarterbacks
play a whole season, but Jimmy G did get hurt.
Right,
he got hurt.
But I find it fascinating with his injury history. He was the only one to stay healthy for a full season.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy didn't, and he came in midway through the year. But Trey Lance didn't.
The 49ers, something unlucky there. That's why they should keep the three quarterbacks. I think they should have three quarterbacks on the roster. And I do think that I'm not a Sam Darnold fan, I must say.
I agree he's a bust, but if under the Kyle Shanahan offense, Sam Darnold, truthfully, on the week one of the regular season depth chart, if Sam Darnold is right behind Brock Purdy, Trey Lance should be gone. Because we both agree. We saw it when he was with the Jets. He looked horrible. Against the Patriots, beat the living crap out of Sam Darnold. So much so, in his I'm pretty sure in his post-game conference, he said he was seeing ghosts. I think that was in like a 33-0 loss or whatever it was. The Patriots crushed him. We both agree Sam Darnold is a complete bust.
Yeah, well.
And I think Trey Lance, really, because let's go down the list. Josh Allen, Tua, Mac, I think even Zach Wilson would be fine. But Aaron Rodgers.
Zach Wilson.
Here's the thing. Zach Wilson has a great arm. I think Kyle Shanahan would actually make him more accurate with the shorter passes. That's why Jimmy G works so well with it. Joe Burrow, Lamar, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill. I think technically if we're talking about this season, Anthony Richardson would be fine. CJ Stroud, I think, would flourish. Obviously Mahomes, Herbert, Jimmy G. We already saw he could have made it to 2 Super Bowls. Russell Wilson, I think, would do fine. Hurts, Prescott, Daniel Jones. We saw him make it work with Brian Daboll. Why can't it work with Kyle Shanahan? Sam Howell just got announced as the starter for the Commanders. Would he do? I need to see who Sam Howell is before I make that assumption. So he's the TBD. But Kirk Cousins, 49ers are reportedly interested in Kirk.
The Panthers.
Bryce Young.
Nobody knows what he's
I need to see more from him, but I assume just based on his. But I mean, he got 6 passes. He completed 4 of them, but he also got murdered by the Jets defensive line. Jared Goff would be fine. Jordan Love, I think, would be fine. Justin Fields, he has legs to him. He'd be that Trey Lance, but I think he's better than Trey Lance. Baker Mayfield.
I think
they were reportedly interested in him.
Any quarterback in the NFL would love to be in that offense. That's for sure.
And I think every quarterback would work
with that scheme and those skill players.
It makes it easy for quarterbacks. It makes it super easy for quarterbacks because it's based on
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, you have C-Mac, you have Elijah Mitchell, you have
Deebo Samuels.
You have Deebo Samuels. Yeah, exactly. So my big thing is, right? The system is super easy because it doesn't rely on you having a big arm. We saw the Bucks offensive scheme with Bruce Arians. No risk and no biscuit. Get the ball down the field. That's what Bruce Arians' scheme was. So Jameis Winston has a great arm. Zach Wilson would also work in that offense. Josh Allen would work in that type of offense. But Jimmy G wouldn't because Jimmy doesn't have a great arm. But did he work with the 49ers? Yeah, he did. So much so that he has a 40-19 record as a starter. And he was great. Led a 5-0 season.
This year.
It very well may suffer, and I do think it will. So the fact that Trey Lance, right? So right now we have the 3 quarterbacks in the lower third here. Sam Darnold. Kyle Shanahan has already spoken very, very highly about Sam Darnold and said that he could revive his career there. Think about it. A bust could revive his career there.
What else is the head coach going to say?
He hasn't said those things about Trey Lance.
Yeah, well.
Here's the thing. Even if he said those things about Trey Lance, if Sam Darnold outperforms him somehow, some way, Trey Lance is going to be QB3. Here's the thing. I don't see Brandon Allen beating out Trey Lance. If it gets to that case,
I don't either. Trey
Lance ain't getting another job, let alone, staying with the 49ers. I just find it very, very fascinating how there are questions now about the 49ers QB situation.
That's being raised by the media. I don't think there's that big a question within the organization. Within the organization, I think they firmly believe Brock Purdy is their number 1 quarterback.
And you know what? He should be because
rightfully so.
I agree with you. He's the best of the 3 quarterbacks. Yeah. Now the question is that here's the thing. The 49ers, I'm going to love watching all those preseason games because we're going to see here's the thing.
Who do they play? They play this weekend.
They do. Let's bring up their preseason schedule. will it show me here? They play Denver tomorrow at 8:30.
Okay.
We can get tickets for as low as $13.
Well,
$13
I'm not
preseason
flying
game.
out to Denver.
Here's the thing. We talked about this on Monday. Brock Purdy's the solidified QB1. We get that. That QB2 battle, that's what's fascinating, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the next 3 weeks. So we'll obviously have to wait and see. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.